do offer, as Wesleyan, that type of thing, although I think it was funded with a very modest, maybe $2.5 million. That's going to be extended through the end of 2027 in one of these bills we've just talked about. But again, is that enough? I don't know. We don't know what dollar amount will be assigned to it necessarily, but is this just chipping away, or do employers essentially need to be given the opportunity to offset? You open a daycare, we're going to make the tax incentives there that we keep you whole as a company, offset your costs.
Yeah, I think everything has to be on the table. It's such a big issue because, we've talked about it from the standpoint of workforce, and we've talked about it from the standpoint of making sure that, we're providing families with options. But I think the importance on the actual child, I think, is one of the things that we're just not really talking about. We've passed a ton of bills about, how we're, struggling with reading comprehension and, all of these things where there's such a focus on high quality education and high quality childcare and what that means to a child. I really look at that we're underfunding essentially what we're doing here, and maybe it's just prioritizing. So, one of the bills that I had, or one of the proposals that we had with the budget was to essentially tie CCDF funding, which is your child care vouchers, to choice vouchers, whatever that eligibility is there. So we're opening it up more options, so.
Continuum, that notion of from cradle to K and beyond.
Well, here's I guess the point. We have so many folks from economic development, from the chamber, from all these places saying, this is such an urgent issue, but we didn't hear the same thing necessarily about choice as far as vouchers. So we're spending a lot of money putting, thousands of dollars into vouchers for students that, or for families that are making $230,000. But right now we have a wait list of about 7,600 people waiting for CCDF vouchers, and these are families that are making $45,000 or less a year. So it's really about prioritizing.
And that was you had a bill that didn't get a hearing this session, but it was tax credits, right? Yeah. To offset, not to employers, but to people who need childcare.
Yeah, and I just want to add Senator Pohl's point here. So today in Indiana, if you want to see if you're eligible for childcare support, you have to fill out, or pre-K, you have to fill out about 7 different forms, pull all kinds of information together, and it's very difficult. And then you may or may not be eligible and have access to childcare in your community. If you want now to go to a private school, pay private school tuition on the public dime, it's a very simple process, and up to 400% of poverty level is eligible. That's a family of 4 right now, about $230,000 household income versus
$45,000 or less.
$45,000 or less for CCDF. That doesn't make sense to me. So in the current budget that we're wrapping up now, we spent about $25 million to send those wealthier families to private schools on the public dime. Many of whom, well, actually that $25 million is just to families who are already sending their children to private schools. So that's new taxpayer dollar that has no benefit in outcomes for our children, right? The current budget that I think it's probably gone now with the fiscal crisis we've just been unveiled yesterday with the new forecast. But the proposal was to send 100% of children to private school, which would be $183 million for wealthy families to go to private school on the public dime. And that's the estimate that would be spent. Yeah. And that is money that could be spent to solve the child care crisis and help all of our children have a chance to thrive.